Bonjour Montréal, comment ça va? Ça va bien, c'est mon plaisir de vous rejoindre aujourd'hui. So no, this isn't the French version of Startupfest. My name is David Brown. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Techstars. And although I live in Boulder, Colorado, and I've lived there for a long time, I'm born and raised here in Montreal. And it's great to be back. I had a really great morning. I confess that I snuck away and I went to Saint-Viateur Bagel and I went to see the house I grew up in Outremont and was really nostalgic and got some great pictures. And it's just really great to be back here in Montreal. When I was here in high school, we learned about this thing called a cultural mosaic that Canada had that was different than the melting pot that exists in the United States. In a melting pot, everybody assimilates, speaks the same language, becomes one. In a cultural mosaic, we celebrate diversity of ethnic origin through different neighborhoods and preservation of culture. And it was a big part of the Canadian identity then. And I feel that it is a great part of Canada's entrepreneurial startup advantage today. As you may know, we're long on Canada. We've recently announced that we're expanding our presence here at Techstars. We're going to have an accelerator open up in the new year. We've long been here through the startup weekends, but opening an accelerator is a big step for us and a great source of pride for me to finally have a program in my home country. Thank you. I wish it was planned that way. We've been working on it for a long time, but I think that it is a really great time to have a new accelerator in Canada. The immigration situation that we have south of the border is not something that I'm particularly proud of, and it's hard living in the United States watching entrepreneurs, immigrants want to come start businesses and either not be able to come, or even if they can come, worry that they're not going to feel welcome. That is true south of the border. Sorry, I got to get off this slide. That's true south of the border. But here, I believe you have a great opportunity in Canada to take advantage of that because of the great policies that you have towards entrepreneurs from around the world that want to come to North America to start their businesses but may not want to go down into Trump land. There, I said it. Anyway, the theme at Startupfest this week is around luck. And I'm here today to talk to you about what does it take to make luck happen. I feel like I've been a lucky guy. I've been in startups all my life. As I like to say, I'm 53 years old. I've never had a job interview. I've only pretty much ever worked at startups. And I'll take you a little bit through that journey, but what I really want to do is talk to you about sort of what characteristics does it take to make luck happen. So this is me coming into first grade, École Nouvelle-Kerbe. Cute kid, right? Like all good Canadians, I played hockey. I think it's required to get your passport. Is that still true? I believe it was true when I was here. I started at the age of 3, and I played until the age of 16. And what happened at the age of 16 was I graduated into some league that was good enough that I realized, holy cow, I'm really not that great, and I'm not going to make it to the NHL, and I haven't played hockey since. I worked at La Ronde, which is the amusement park right on the island, off of the island of Montreal here for 4 summers in high school. There I am on top of the scary ride. I can't remember what it was called. I went to McGill, I got a degree in math and computer science. Yay, McGill. Go Redmond. In my first summer, after my first year of McGill, is when I really got lucky and that I started to discover entrepreneurship. I got a job, believe it or not, working at the government, and that's how I got into entrepreneurship. It was odd, I have to admit. I went into this environment where it felt very much not me. The department I was in, the Department of Transportation, they actually had a joke that was, why are there, and my apologies to the government officials in the audience, I'm sure this is not true in your departments, but in mine, the joke was, why are there white lines drawn down the hallways in government buildings? And the answer was, so that the people who are arriving late don't bump into the people who are leaving early. That was their joke. And I was a fish out of water. And the only thing that I had going for me was that my supervisor, who's this kind of guy that was in the corner coding late at night to work on something, and I had no idea nobody had any idea what he was doing. And I was a summer intern, and by the end of that first summer after my first year of university, Martin was his name, my supervisor, confided in me that he was working on a startup, and he asked me if I wanted to be employee number one working with him. And I did, and I worked my butt off. I worked for him full-time while going to school full-time. It didn't work out, but it made me realize I didn't want a job working in the government. I didn't want to be on the corporate hamster wheel. I felt like life as a startup would be so much easier. This company had an affiliation with a company down in Miami, Florida. I'm going to tell you the story super quickly. Miami, I met another entrepreneur there that was doing a startup there. He made me a job offer. It was funny, I flew down on a Thursday. I think he made me the offer. I said I accepted on the spot. And I said, I'll start on Monday. I flew back here to Montreal. Back then, there was no ecosystem here, right? And so, although I left because I felt like south of the border there were more opportunities for entrepreneurs, that's not true today. But I flew back to Montreal. I packed up all my belongings in my car. I got ready to drive down to Miami. I stopped at a wedding of a friend of mine, and during the wedding, my car got stolen. So I got this really awesome fresh start where I flew down to Miami, started a new role. Miami Vice was really big at the time, or it had just gone off of the air, and I thought that was a really cool place to be. I met another early employee of this startup, David Cohen. David is my longtime co-founder at Techstars and every other startup I've ever been involved in. I met him, we were roommates down in Miami. Aren't we two good-looking guys? We look just like Crockett and Tubbs, right? Maybe not. We started a company together called Pinpoint Technologies. That was our first startup in our 20s. We moved it to Boulder, Colorado at some point. Here's the famous napkin. We didn't know where to go. We sat in a pizzeria, Uno. We wrote down different places where we might want to live. We scratched each other's terrible ideas off of the list. Boulder was the only one left. We kept the napkin. So if you wonder why Techstars is based in Boulder, Colorado, there's the napkin. We built that business there. We wound up growing it to about 250 employees, $50 million revenue, had an exit to a company called Zoll Medical. Had some other adventures along the way, angel invested, did another startup in there. That startup was not successful, and angel investing sort of proved the adage, it's an awesome way to turn a large fortune into a small fortune. That was our experience in angel investing. And then we started Techstars in 2007. The idea was in 2006. This is the founding email. It's from David to me in February of 2006 saying, hey, I have this idea. Let's do, the word accelerator didn't exist then, but let's put up a website, bring a bunch of companies together, give them a little money, have some open office space. Maybe it'll be 2 or 3 months. We'll participate in their success if they're successful, and it won't cost them anything if it's not. And then here I am today. So let me jump into making Locke happen. My hypothesis is that it's not about being in the right place at the right time. My hypothesis is we are all in the right place at the right time at some point, but we don't know it. So how do we recognize the fact that we are at the right place at the right time? And I gave it a little bit of thought as I was putting together this talk. And I think that there are personal characteristics that I feel have helped me sort of identify that. I have long said that this is me. I have no 5-year plan, no 1-year plan, never had that. I just know in the moment when there's an opportunity, I know to grab it. right? Just like I knew to grab that role in Miami, be Crockett or Tubbs, and move to Florida on 3 days' notice. I knew that that was the right thing to do. And so some of those characteristics, first of all, there's a certain amount of self-confidence that you have to have. In the front, we're laughing here because we recognize Stuart Smalley. He's our senator now. This isn't the kind of self-confidence that you need, the daily affirmation that I'm wonderful, but I think self-confidence is really about knowing yourself, right? Looking into your heart, understanding what you're good at, what you're not good at, and making sure that you know your strengths and your weaknesses, and spending time with yourself, thinking about that deeply. If you don't know that, how can you possibly know when an opportunity is right or wrong? Self-confidence has an evil cousin, and that evil cousin is arrogance. And so let's not mix up the two. They often come together. The ability to confidently say, I know what to do in this situation, is not necessarily self-confidence. And so beat back the arrogance beast. You don't know more than everybody else. There are a lot of people in this room that are a lot smarter than me. And making sure that you remember that in your lives all of the time is really, really important, so that you can draw from the knowledge that everybody else can bring to you. Strategic thinking is my third one. We are all so busy, and it only gets worse, right? We get hundreds of emails a day. Our calendar is booked from dawn to dusk with meetings. Somewhere in there, we're interrupted with phone calls and people walking into the office and asking us questions. And when you're so mired in the tactical all day long like that, how do you find time to think about what is important to you personally and to your business, so that you can be in the right, when you are in the right place in the right time, you can say, yes, that's an opportunity that I want to grab. I think how you do it is up to you. I've seen different people do it different ways. Some people block off time on their calendar to think. I personally find it hard to say, I'm going to have a really great idea next Tuesday at 2 p.m. That's not how I operate, but many people do. Some people have work from home days to avoid the interruptions. Personally, I've long said that I travel a lot for what I do, and I've found that airplane time or airport time is often where I have an opportunity to think, especially before they had Wi-Fi on planes. That is too tempting. Clarity of thought, I think, matters a lot. I'll give you my own 3 personal tricks to be able to think clearly. It's to not do what this cartoon shows. I like to write down what's on my mind somewhere. Doesn't matter if it's in a task list, in Asana, on a note paper, but if I get all of the random thoughts out of my brain into a place where I know that they're going to get taken care of, I feel much more capable of clarity of thought, right? And I sleep better, which is my second topic. I sleep 9 hours a night, 10 hours on weekends plus a nap. And people wonder, like, wow, David, how do you get so much done when you sleep so much? And sure, it's tempting to get up a couple of hours earlier and work on email or whatever, but I believe that because I get a good night's sleep, that the decisions that I make during the day are of an order of magnitude higher caliber than when I'm tired and I'm not thinking clearly. Humility is my next point. Being humble, we're not always right. I mentioned it before, we're not the smartest person in the room. Making sure that we are capable of saying, I made a mistake. That decision, I might be the CEO of my company, but that decision that I made was the wrong one, and I need to undo it. And my friends or my lieutenants or my coworkers or whoever told me I was wrong, and I should be able to go back to them and say, you're right. And that combination of self-confidence and humility, I think, is unfortunately much too rare. My last point is patience. I love the term, it took me 10 years to become an overnight success. And I think that if you went to any almost any company that you think was an overnight success, and you talked to the CEO or the founder and asked about their journey, you would be surprised at how much hard work and time and effort it took to becoming that overnight success. So have patience. Believe in what you're working on, and then give it the time to ferment and to grow and to turn into something special. So those are sort of my general thoughts on how to recognize that you're in the right place in the right time, and therefore how to make luck happen. I want to leave you with a few parting thoughts on some other characteristics that we see in successful entrepreneurs. You know, at Techstars, we've invested in over 1,000 companies now. Our mission is to help entrepreneurs succeed all around the world, wherever they choose to build their businesses. And because we get to see so many, there's certain of these characteristics, I think, that they have in common. The first is a willingness to take risk. Entrepreneurship, startups is a risky business. This is a playground. I saw this picture. I thought it was awesome. A playground from 1920 or something. And we have become a risk-averse society. I mean, somebody's going to die on that thing any minute now. And entrepreneurship is a risky business, and we should embrace that. In our minds, we should be operating as if our company is that playground. My next point is to work smart, right? Don't be the guy on the right of the diagram, or I guess the guy in the middle of the diagram. You should be the person on the left of the diagram, coming up with new ideas on how to be more efficient. When you hear people saying, "I'm too busy," that is a signal that they're not working smart. Be flexible. Plans change. Companies pivot. Ideas don't work out. If you operate under the assumption that the hypothesis that you had a year ago is going to remain true forever, you're unlikely to succeed. And then I'll let you read it, but really my summary is use your brain. And then finally, I love this formula. What it says is, so the intent here is work hard. And what it says is that if every day you do 1% more, in 1 year, you'll have accomplished 37 times as much. However, if every day you work 1% less, after 1 year, you'll be 3% of your former self. So which do you want to do? And hard work matters. My name is David Brown. I'm with Techstars. I'm super excited to be here in Montreal. I hope to enjoy the rest of the week here and get to meet some of you. Thank you for giving me your time.